Listen closely, because what you're about to hear isn't ordinary. This isn't just another message. This is a divine summons. If you've been feeling something stirring in your spirit, if life has suddenly felt heavier, faster, more intense, it's because heaven is signaling you. You didn't stumble onto this by chance. You were drawn here. You were called. And not everyone receives this call. Only those set apart. Only those chosen. Right now, the atmosphere is shifting. The spiritual realm is roaring. This is not the time to stay quiet. This is not the time to play small. The battle has begun, not just around you, but within you. And if you're watching this, that means you've been marked for more. More clarity, more power, more responsibility. Chosen one, your moment is now, not tomorrow, not someday. Now you are not crazy for feeling different. You are not broken because you carry more. You are not weak for being stretched. You are being activated. And this is your confirmation. The battlefield has opened, the trumpet has sounded, and your spirit knows. It's time to rise. So take a breath. Get ready, because after this message, you will never be the same again. This is your signal. Not everyone will understand the weight of the shift that's happening, but you do, because you were born for it. There's something stirring in the depths of your being that no longer lets you live like everything is normal. That restlessness, that inner urgency, it's not anxiety, it's awakening. The call has gone out, and your spirit is responding. You're not being shaken because you're breaking. You're being stirred because you're about to step into divine momentum. This next stretch of your journey won't be powered by hustle or strategy. It will be marked by supernatural acceleration. What took others decades to build will start falling into place for you in moments. Not because it's easy, but because it's time. Your preparation season is reaching its divine turning point. The spiritual groundwork you've laid in silence is about to produce public movement. Doors are aligning. Timing is aligning. You are aligning. And with that alignment comes velocity. But make no mistake, this isn't just about personal elevation. This is about positioning. You're being placed where you're needed most. You've been pulled away from distractions, stripped of false identities, purified by pressure. Why? Because now is not the time to coast. It's the time to engage. You didn't survive everything you've walked through to stay silent now. There's a shift happening in the unseen, and only those who've been trained in the hidden places will be able to hold it. If you've been touched by God's grace, let that light shine. Click the super thank you button and sow a seed of $100 or more to fuel a movement of faith and transformation. Your giving is more than a gift. It's a declaration of His abundance. Be a channel of His blessings and watch His work multiply through you. This isn't a war of weapons. It's a war of willingness, the kind that tests your loyalty to truth, the kind that requires more than belief. It demands boldness. You're not being called to fight for survival. You're being chosen to stand for something eternal. And the intensity you've been feeling, that's not chaos, that's confirmation. You're stepping into sacred territory. Everything is accelerating because everything is at stake. Systems are shaking. Illusions are crumbling. And in the midst of it all, you are being summoned to embody clarity. Not preach it, not post it, live it. People won't follow your words. They'll follow your walk. That's why you've been prepared in the dark. That's why you've been misunderstood, overlooked, stretched. Because now is the moment where divine clarity cuts through worldly confusion. For many are called, but few are chosen. Matthew 22:14. You've been walking with a mark on your life, and you've known it, maybe not always with clarity, but with conviction. Like a seed planted deep in the soil, you felt the pressure long before you saw the sprout. That's not because you were forgotten, it's because you were rooted. And what's been growing in the dark is about to rise in the light. Imagine a lighthouse on a stormy coast. It doesn't panic when the waves rise. It doesn't run when the winds howl. It stays lit. It was built for the storm. That's you. That's what God has been crafting in you all this time. Not just a survivor, not just a believer, but a beacon, a signal to others that they too can make it through. This battle, it's ancient, but your role in it is unfolding right now. You're standing in a chapter that's been prophesied through generations. The tears your grandmother cried, the prayers whispered by ancestors whose names you don't even know. Those weren't wasted. They were sowing seasons. You are the harvest, the baton they carried through hardship, silence, rejection. That baton now rests in your hands, and heaven is watching to see what you do with it. But don't let the weight of that intimidate you. You've already been trained for this in the quiet. Your struggles weren't delays, they were divine development. Every time you didn't quit, every time you got back up, every time you chose obedience over comfort, God was stacking strength inside you. And now is the season where that strength speaks. You don't have to be fearless, but you do have to be faithful. This next phase won't be about being the loudest, the boldest, or the flashiest. It'll be about being anchored. Because while the world shakes, you will stand. Not because of your title, your background, or your education, but because you know who sent you. And when God sends you, He doesn't send you empty-handed. He sends you with instruction, with insight, with an anointing no enemy can cancel. And I need you to hear me clearly right now. You are not a mistake. You are not too late. You are not underqualified. You are chosen. And the moment you stop questioning your worth is the moment everything shifts. This isn't about climbing ladders. It's about opening gates. You're not here to compete. You're here to unlock. And when you step into that fully, when you stop apologizing for being appointed, everything in your life will begin to realign. Resources will find you. People will recognize you. Doors will open, not because you forced them, but because you were ready when God said, "Go." There's a war being waged in the unseen, not just for nations or systems, but for souls. And the most dangerous thing you can do right now is shrink when you've been called to speak, when you've been called to build, when you've been called to lead. You've always felt it. That restlessness, that inner pull, that's heaven trying to remind you. You were never meant to sit quietly in the corner of your own life. You were meant to shake ground, to shift rooms, to break cycles. And yes, there will be opposition. But opposition is the evidence you're on assignment. Don't pray for it to go away. Pray for the strength to push through. Because what's coming through you is greater than what's coming against you. This is your moment. Not just to witness what God is doing, but to be what God is doing. You are not just part of the story. You are the move. You are the breakthrough. You are the answer to prayers someone else hasn't even prayed yet. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs your obedience, your boldness, your yes. So rise up, chosen one. Stand tall, even if your knees shake, because your name was written into this moment, and heaven's been waiting for you to show up fully. This moment we're living in isn't chaos by accident. It's a shift by design. What you're seeing around you, disruption, instability, unrest, it's not noise, it's birth pangs. A divine realignment is underway, and those with awakened hearts are being summoned to hold the line. Not out of fear, but out of purpose. Not to fight with force, but to stand with clarity. You're being summoned to a new kind of courage. This isn't about charging forward recklessly. It's about rising with intention. The pressure you felt lately, it's not to crush you, it's to commission you. Because your path, with all its twists and trials, wasn't about punishment. It was preparation. You've been tempered. Your faith has been sharpened. Your voice has been matured in silence. And now that silence is ready to speak, this isn't theory. This is activation. This is about walking fully into your soul's contract and saying yes, not just with your words, but with your life. You've already been chosen. The question now is whether you're willing to choose it back. Are you ready to step forward without needing perfect conditions? Are you willing to move, even if the crowd never claps? What's coming won't require performance. It will require presence. And presence can't be faked. It can only be forged. Through heartbreak, through surrender, through the fire of becoming. And now that fire has refined you into someone who doesn't just survive the storm. You read it. You recognize the signs not as threats, but as signals. The time for waiting is over. The time for asking if you're ready has passed. The call has gone out, and your response is already echoing through realms you cannot see. So take this as sacred instruction. There is no more room for retreat. You are not here by chance. The same power that kept you standing when others fell is the same power now pushing you forward. What you carry is not for your comfort, it's for your commission. And that commission comes with responsibility. Because the weight of what's coming demands that you're rooted in truth, unmoved by distraction, and anchored by something eternal. This war isn't about fear, it's about freedom. The decisions made now will ripple for generations. That's why you're feeling the pressure. It's legacy trying to rise through you. And every test you've endured was training. Every breakdown was blueprint. You're not being thrown into chaos. You're being trusted with sacred ground. And the earth itself is groaning, waiting for those who carry the light to step into their assignment. You are not here by accident. If you feel the pull, the knowing deep inside that you are chosen, this is your moment. Click the super thank you button and give $50 or more to unlock deeper insights, exclusive content, and a path that aligns with your divine purpose. This isn't just a contribution, it's a declaration, a step toward who you were meant to be. Answer the call, walk with us, and step fully into your destiny. Your journey begins now. So stean, fully, fiercely, faithfully. Because your courage won't just shift your life, it will shift the atmosphere for everyone connected to you. Before anything can shift around you, a deeper transformation must occur within you. The true turning point doesn't come from external victories. It starts with the quiet triumphs no one sees. This divine war begins in the territory of your own mind, in the hidden chambers of your heart, in the places where fear has taken root, where pride whispers, where old wounds still echo. That's the ground God is asking you to reclaim first. Because until you confront the storm inside, you'll never carry peace into the storm outside. Your internal landscape must be cleared. Every limiting belief, every harmful cycle, every thought that pulls you further from your divine origin has to be brought to light and released. Not because you're broken, but because you're becoming. Purification isn't about punishment, it's about preparation. And what's being removed isn't who you are. It's everything that was layered on top of who you really are. The patterns that once seemed unbreakable, they're not your identity, They're the residue of past battles you didn't even know you were fighting, but now you do. And now is when you step into spiritual maturity by refusing to carry anything that was never meant to stay. The habits, the heaviness, the guilt, it has no place where you're going. The space it once occupied is being cleared for power, clarity, and divine instruction. This transformation isn't a finish line, it's a rhythm, a daily decision to align, a continual returning to the path, even when distractions whisper louder than truth. You're not being called to be perfect. You're being called to be present. Present in the work, present in the process, present with God as He shapes your soul for the role you were born to fulfill. And in that process, faith becomes your foundation, not as a passive belief, but as a living force, the kind of faith that anchors you in turbulence, that sharpens your vision in confusion, the kind that doesn't wait for signs, it becomes the sign. That's what makes your journey different. You're not walking by what's visible, you're moving by what's real. That kind of faith, it doesn't just protect you, it empowers you. It becomes the force that breaks limitations and builds legacy. It becomes the strength that others lean on when their own is failing. And the beauty of it all, as you rise, you lift others without even trying. Not because you're preaching, but because you're proving that spiritual resilience is possible, that freedom isn't a myth, it's a manifestation. This is not the season to spectate. This is the time to engage. Your position in this divine plan is not accidental. You've been entrusted with vision, with clarity, with the authority to shift atmospheres simply by showing up in alignment. Whether you speak or stay silent, act boldly or move quietly, your obedience is a strategy, and heaven takes notice. You weren't born to drift. You were born to disrupt, internally first, then externally. Every action you take in alignment with divine truth is a move on the battlefield. Every stronghold you break within is a strike against the forces trying to delay you. And every time you choose purpose over comfort, light over fear, faith over ego, you're not just winning battles, you're setting history in motion. There's a divine rhythm moving through your life, even in moments that feel still. You may not always see it, but you are being moved with precision. Every delay, every shift, every urge that seemed to come from nowhere, they weren't coincidences. They were coordinates. You're not just being led, you're being woven into something eternal. The timing of your steps is sacred, even when the path feels unclear. When you take action from a place of surrender, you align with forces beyond your understanding. Doors open without you knocking. Encounters happen without planning. Wisdom flows in when logic fails. It's not that you're trying to control the outcome. It's that you've finally learned how to respond to the quiet voice inside. That's divine partnership, and it's unfolding right now, even in the smallest details. There will be moments when the weight of your calling feels too heavy, when your part in this divine movement seems too small. But don't let perception fool you. You are part of a pattern only heaven can see in full. The reason you're being moved this way is because you're needed exactly where you're going. And sometimes the breakthrough begins with one step you weren't even aware was the beginning. As you walk, protection surrounds you, not in armor the world can see, but in power the spirit can sense. This isn't defense through force, it's covering through presence. A mantle has been placed upon you, a sacred current of divine energy that shields, amplifies, and elevates. It doesn't ask for permission to shine. It doesn't announce itself with noise. It just moves, and when it moves through you, everything changes. You'll feel it, not with your physical senses, but with your spirit, a surge of clarity, a steadiness in chaos, a knowing that doesn't need validation. This is your signal that what surrounds you is more than your own strength. You're not just walking with power, you've become a conduit of it. What once felt like uncertainty now feels like divine rhythm. And it's not leading you toward safety, it's leading you toward impact. You've been given tools not of this world, tools that don't look like weapons, but carry the force of heaven. Insight, wisdom, influence, language shaped by truth, presence rooted in the eternal. These are not mere gifts, they are instruments of divine intervention. You won't need to force the change, you will be the change, through what you say, through what you don't, through the frequency of your life fully yielded. The messages you receive, whether through dreams, flashes of inspiration, or a sudden flood of emotion, aren't imagination. They're communication, they're assignments, each one custom designed for your role in this unfolding mission. Use them wisely. These are your blueprints. Each whisper is a directive. Each vision is a preview. Each stirring is an alert that it's time to move. And when you speak knowing this. Your voice isn't just making sound, it's sending signal. What leaves your mouth enters realms your eyes can't see. So speak with precision. Speak with intention. Let truth rise from within, not from impulse, but from alignment. Because your words aren't ordinary. They're weapons of light, carving space in dark places, carrying heaven's authority. Surround yourself with voices that reflect what you've been called to become. Fill your mind with language that supports your mission. Don't allow idle words to take root where destiny is trying to grow. Because in this holy assignment, your inner atmosphere matters just as much as your outer action. And every thought, every word, every step, it's part of the strategy. Heaven has already written the plan. Now it's your turn to walk it out. You were born with a knowing, a sense that there's more happening around you than meets the eye. That knowing isn't imagination, it's activation. You are spiritually wired to receive signals from beyond this world, and lately, those signals have been intensifying. Dreams that linger longer than sleep, sudden inner shifts, and a rising urgency in your spirit. They're not random. They are divine instructions, wrapped in mystery, calling you to attention. Now is the time to pay close attention to everything that speaks beyond logic. These inner messages are sacred navigation tools. You may not always recognize them at first, but trust this: the visions you're receiving, the patterns that are forming, the clarity that arrives at unexpected hours, it's heaven speaking in code. You are being shown things before they happen, not for fear, but for preparation. You're being guided not by chance, but by divine intelligence, aligning your next move. As the landscape of the world shifts around you, many will panic, but you will perceive. The changes, economic shakeups, social unrest, environmental anomalies, aren't chaos without purpose. They are markers of spiritual momentum. Where others see collapse, you will recognize correction. While systems unravel, provision will flow your way in ways that defy the norm. It won't always make sense on paper, but it will feel like alignment in your soul. You are being equipped to stand strong in a moment of global transformation. This is not about survival, it's about spiritual command. The energy you will carry in the days ahead isn't simply emotion or adrenaline, it's assignment. There will come a moment where you feel a deep surge, as if something ancient has awoken in you. That's not a mood, that's divine ignition. Your hesitation will fall off. Your old limitations will shed. And the you that steps forward will be more whole, more fearless, more aware, than ever before. This activation is a spiritual turning point. It is not here to impress you. It's here to assign you. Your voice will grow sharper. Your spirit will grow louder. Your purpose will pull at you with a force you can no longer ignore. And when that moment comes, when the pull becomes undeniable, you must say yes. That yes is what shifts history. The tension you feel between darkness and truth is real. But you are not powerless in the face of it. You have been armed with language that creates, with presence that transforms, with clarity that exposes lies. Use it. Speak with conviction, even if your voice shakes. Declare what you've seen, even if it sounds strange. When you speak with faith, you don't just influence people, you shift atmospheres. Signs are already unfolding. Sudden synchronicities, heightened awareness, random events that feel scripted. They are markers on the timeline of destiny. Pay attention. Let nothing be dismissed. Keep your spirit tuned, your discernment sharp, your trust firm. You are not meant to spectate. You are meant to shape what's coming. And as this divine assignment escalates, your daily choices matter more than ever. This isn't the time to delay obedience. Your alignment will ripple beyond your own life. It will move through families, cities, generations. Every decision you make in faith, every act of courage, every prayer spoken into tension, it all writes into the unfolding of something eternal. You have always carried something different, an inner fire that wouldn't allow you to stay asleep while the world drifted deeper into confusion. That restlessness you felt wasn't anxiety, it was awakening. You weren't being disturbed, you were being summoned. Every hardship, every delay, every test was building the foundation of resilience that would be required now. Because now isn't just a moment of awareness, it's a moment of alignment. This path will ask for everything: your consistency, your courage, your surrender. But understand this: true readiness isn't built in comfort, it's forged in commitment. You'll be asked to release what's familiar and step into what's divinely unfamiliar, and you must do it without hesitation. You don't prepare by packing your fears, you prepare by unloading them. We're entering a season where former systems will collapse, not to destroy, but to reset. Old mindsets, outdated loyalties, hollow rituals, what once held structure will no longer support your elevation. And as the spiritual atmosphere begins to shift, those who have listened, labored, and lingered with God will rise with supernatural precision. What feels like chaos to many will feel like confirmation to you. If you've been touched by God's grace, let that light shine. Click the super thank you button and sow a seed of $100 or more to fuel a movement of faith and transformation. Your giving is more than a gift. It's a declaration of His abundance. Be a channel of His blessings and watch His work multiply through you. You're not waiting on the future to arrive. The countdown has already begun. You've been feeling it. The compression of time, the spiritual tension in the atmosphere, the sudden urgency that doesn't quite make sense to your mind but is undeniable in your spirit. That's not pressure. It's the signal that positioning is taking place. And with that positioning comes revelation. You already possess everything needed for the role assigned to you. The tools are in you. The timing is for you. Heaven isn't sending you into battle unequipped. You were calibrated before you were ever sent. The whispers you've been ignoring, the ideas you've been putting off, the talents you've been hiding. They're not extras, they're weapons. It's time to uncover them. Your divine capacity is no longer dormant. What has felt locked or delayed is now being activated. Fear won't fit where you're going. Doubt can't come with you. You've been called to carry presence that shifts atmospheres, to speak words that move things in the invisible realm, to walk with authority, not borrowed from the world, but breathed into you by God. That means when the moment comes, and it will, you'll feel it in your bones. It won't be announced with sirens. It will arrive in silence and strike your spirit like thunder. That's the call to move, not to stall, not to seek approval, but to obey with precision. You'll be required to step forward even when you don't feel ready. But trust this, the divine doesn't ask for what isn't already within. You've reached the threshold. Not everyone will cross it, but you will, because you didn't come here to blend in. You came to carry the blueprint for transformation. You came to live so loudly in truth that others remember their own.